child.
Now, you devoted a large portion of the novel to the Civil War period. Do you have an interest in that?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, my great-grandfather fought in the Civil War on the Union side and won the Medal of Honor. So, and he also wrote an autobiography, which everybody in our family has read. So it's fascinating to know that I have ancestors who've lived through this experience, and of course that was such a brutal time and such a horrible thing to go through that it's very dramatic and makes for great material for novels.
Now, are all your characters usually based on people that you know, or are they entirely fictitious?
Well, I don't have any characters in this book that I would say I picked out from people I know. But every character I have has aspects of them that I could see in people around me, and that I could pick up in observations. There's an old saying that only God creates, and that people rearrange, and I think that's true of writers. We take what's out there and we put it into a form that it makes a good plot line, that it makes a good story, that it's exciting for the reader. And but what's out there is that's our clay. That's what we have to work with. So I set a lot of my story in a church environment that's similar to my own church environment. I have characters who have techniques on the internet in their emails that are similar to some that my characters have, and little things like that. So you might have one person in my life that has half a dozen little quirks, say, that I've noticed and observed, and I've used them in 3 or 4 different characters, so it kind of spreads out a little bit.
When did you come to know or realize that you wanted to be an author?
Well, I had a friend way back in 8th grade who was a writer. He was also an 8th grade student, and we did a play together, and we wrote different aspects of it. He did a lot of dialogue, and I did a lot of the staging and some of the settings, thinking in that direction. And I really admired his ability to write, and when I tried to do some of the similar things, I just couldn't do it. And so I knew I had to grow into it. So I think at that point in time, way back when I was in 8th grade, I decided this is something I really want to learn. I really want to master. And it took me many years of writing and working on it. And in fact, this book itself, Motherless Soul, there were aspects of this book that I wrote in an attempted novel many, many years ago, and that I dragged out and put back into this one, because my writing has finally reached the level that I am proud of, and that I can put it all together and wrap it up in a novel that I think will really catch on.
So what are you working on now?
Well, I'm trying to do a sequel to it. It's had a couple of false starts, but the last start was pretty favorably received by my writers group, and I think I'm in a direction that I'm wanting to go in. The novel Motherless Soul is, like I mentioned, based on this elderly woman contacting a hypnotist. And what I'm doing for the sequel is I've dropped all of the characters except for the hypnotist, but he goes on and somebody else contacts him, and there will be a similar story moving around his exploration of past lives.
Now, in your opinion, who should buy this book and read it?
Well, I would say because of the mother-daughter aspect of it, its appeal would be largely to women in their 40s on up, maybe, possibly. But there's a huge section that we mentioned before that's set in the Civil War, so Civil War buffs might also be interested in it. You don't have to be specifically excited about the concept of reincarnation, but either you have to be open to it or willing to suspend disbelief in order to enjoy a story that's set up like this. But I would say my primary market target would be women 40 on up.
Time's getting very short, so the most important question, where can we buy this book?
Oh, it's available on Amazon under my name or under Motherless Soul, and also on Barnes and Nobles, and also the publisher is All Things That Matter Press, and they have their own website where it's available too.
Could you spell your last name for us, please, for those that will be searching on the internet?
Sure, Lindahl. It's like Linda with an HL.
Well, this has been very, very enlightening. Our guest today has been Steve Lindahl, and Steve is the author of Motherless Soul. Steve, thanks very much for being with us today.
Oh, sure. Thank you for having me.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of the Author Show. If you're an author or know an author, learn how you can help a publisher publish you by visiting helpapublisherpublishyou.com. Each week you receive a listing of publishers, small presses, and others who may be interested in publishing your work. This is a free service of the Author Show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit www.theauthorshow.com, fill out the form, and we may be contacting you shortly. We look forward to seeing you here next time on the Author Show.
Thank you for listening to The Author Show. To contact us about the show, call toll-free 1-877-955-8800. That's 1-877-955-8800. Or visit WNBNetworkWest.com. Tune in next time for another great author on The Author Show.